welcome to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
And we are here to discuss all things government and what happens when a country fucks around and finds out. Nicole, how long has it been? How long have we been surviving the crazy?
How long has the national nightmare been? 42 days since inauguration.
It feels so much longer than that.
I know. 609 till the midterms.
Okay. So our next podcast will not be under 600 days, but the next one possibly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting there. Slowly but surely. God help us.
This last week was particularly bad. We're really starting to look real bad in the worldview. Yeah. I think the worst part for me this last week was the Trump Zelenskyy meeting.
Oval Office. Yeah.
Fiasco. Yes.
Yes.
But one of my favorite things was watching it spoofed on SNL this last weekend. I did enjoy that.
And Mike Myers at the end of SNL?
Yes. And I have to say that I am glad that Elon watched it because he responded on...
He did?
Yes. Yes, he was like, SNL is a far left leaning, blah, 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 blah. And then he talked about how humor fails when it goes on the floor. So I don't know. It was dumb. It was just dumb. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But, it was really sad. So you and I were talking about this weekend. President Zelenskyy came into the Oval Office and he did absolutely nothing wrong. He got chastised for not showing enough gratitude and appreciation. He got chastised for the clothes that he wore, that it was disrespectful. He got chastised because basically the whole exercise was them just wanting to make Zelenskyy sign a deal to turn over their mineral rights in the war.
Which he was willing to do.
Which he was willing to do, but all he asked for were some type of guarantee that Russia would ceasefire and leave. And Trump's like, no, you should have just signed it and believed that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Who fucking does that? Who thinks is right? Who thinks that's an appropriate tactic? And then what was really sad to me was that, you could tell JD Vance just wanted to be in the room.
Daddy, please love me. Please love me.
That's right. Yes. Suck a cock. And then you had Elon Musk who was there as well. The whole interaction, the whole way it went down, and for it to go down like that in the public eye, I think Trump thought it would make him look like a big Barney badass.
Right. He didn't expect it to blow up in his face.
That's right. That's not at all how it came across. People think he's worse than ever.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that at one point, Vance is chastising Zelenskyy for, you should not be trying to litigate this in front of the American media. And then Trump's like, no, I'm glad this is happening because now everybody sees what we've been dealing with behind closed doors. And I'm thinking nobody with clear conscious thought thinks that Zelenskyy orchestrated the press pool into the Oval Office and asked for this meeting to be in front of the American media. That
absolutely not.
Doesn't happen. Trump is the one. And there is no way that when Trump was talking about how it was an embarrassment because he, to your point, was not saying thank you enough to the American people, which is a flat out fucking lie. The man has said thank you multiple times over the last 3 years.
Yes.
For what the Americans are doing.
Yep.
Trump has his mugshot framed right outside the door to the Oval Office. That's a fucking national embarrassment.
No shit.
Along with this meeting in the Oval. And then the fact that they abruptly cut it off. And he was so hateful to one of the foreign correspondents. I don't know that she was from Ukraine, but she was a foreign correspondent in the White House or in the Oval. And he was completely hateful to her. And then he just cuts the meeting off and they both decamp to separate rooms. And Zelenskyy tries the information that's come out is that Zelenskyy tries to get it back on track because Yeah, he was willing to sign the rare earth minerals shit that Trump's so hung up on. But yes, to your point, he needed guarantees that he was not going to give up any land to Russia.
Right.
He's not doing any of that stuff. And his team tried to get the meetings to come back on track behind closed doors. And Marco Rubio gets sent in to tell them that the president wants them off the White House grounds immediately.
So I think
fucking horrendous.
It is. It really true. I've never seen a president behave in that manner.
Remember, women can't. They're so emotional. Women cannot possibly run this country.
That's right.
Yeah, don't forget that little nugget.
That's right. Yes, you're absolutely correct that women are the ones that aren't able to control their emotions.
That's why we can't. Why we can't be in charge of the nuclear codes. I mean, clearly we would just randomly start a war because we might be going through menopause.
But you heard Trump say the words World War III.
World War III.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He told Zelensky, yes, he told Zelensky, you are playing with millions of people's lives. You are trying to start World War III.
Yes.
And Zelensky just sat there like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It really was. And so did you watch then? I think you and I both watched the Zelensky interview on Fox News later.
I did not.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, it hurt my heart. It hurt
to turn on Fox News
to watch something on Fox News.
Yeah.
But it was well worth it to see Zelensky's response because his response was very much, I don't know what happened. I don't know why they didn't think that. I have nothing but respect and, appreciation in my, for President Trump and for the things that they have done. I appreciate everything that the American people have done.
Yes.
I'm 100% like just trying to not let my people die. This is the reason I didn't want to sign it the way that it was. And really, I was willing to sign it, but all I wanted from Trump was some guarantees of what it was going to get me. Yeah. And he wouldn't give me that. And he wasn't even as antagonistic as I'm being right now. He wasn't
just very calm and matter of fact. Yeah.
Yes, he was 100% about facts. Even keeled, he looked like a president. He looked like a fucking president.
Yeah.
And the fact, I mean, even the Fox News guy that interviewed him, he had been to Ukraine and he had been on the front lines. He saw the war. He saw the devastation. So he even made a comment about Trump, basically saying that, like, he didn't come out and was like Trump's false comments about but you could tell like he was struggling because, at one time we supported Ukraine, we supported Zelensky, and Trump supported Ukraine and Zelensky. And so now having to go back and not support, and to believe, it's just, you could tell it was hard for him as well. I will say that I read an article from CNN, which, I get it's whatever, but it said that, and it was a correspondent that is in Moscow right now. And was commenting about how elated Russians are, how much Russia and the Russian government believe that this is now a perfect time for Donald Trump and Putin to have a summit they're talking about. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's just shocking. It's just shocking.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see, not to be like a, 1950s boomer, but I really never did think that I would see us as close to Russia as we are right now.
No. Yeah, the Russian government issued a statement today praising the Trump foreign policy agenda, stating the new U.S. administration is rapidly changing all foreign policy configurations. This largely coincides with our vision.
Great.
And, I saw somebody over the weekend do two things on that. So they have this shit show in the Oval, and then Trump leaves for Mar-a-Lago to go golf, and J.D. Vance takes his family to, I believe it was Vermont, to go ski, and both were met with protesters. And I saw the ones where Vance and his family they were lining the street to the ski resort or the home or wherever they were staying, and they had signs, and almost every sign said, go ski in Russia. You're not welcome here. Go ski in Russia. Yes. And then somebody over the weekend that I think was an Instagram reel or something, but somebody had said, the way we know, they were talking about Trump calling Zelenskyy a dictator and then him trying to walk that back like a week ago. Like, I don't think I said that. I don't remember saying that, whatever. This person said the reason we know that Trump doesn't really believe Zelensky's a dictator is because he's not cozying up to him. Look at how he treats Viktor Orban. Look at how he treats
100%.
Putin. Like, if he really believed that Zelenskyy was a dictator, he'd be cozying up to him. And he's not.
Yeah.
So that's how we know that he knows Zelensky's not a dictator. He's just saying shit to be inflammatory.
But he does that all the time. That's his MO.
Yes.
That's how he operates. That's his MO.
Yep.
So yes. So the Zelenskyy has got to be one of the darkest spots that I have seen on this presidency by far.
Well, and then now we're pausing and reviewing our aid to Ukraine as of 7 p.m. tonight's when I got the news alert on it.
Okay.
And, you know, like we said in another podcast, anytime we're siding with Russia, we're on the wrong side, guys.
Yes.
On the wrong fucking side.
Yep. Okay. Speaking of making friends with the wrong people and pissing off the right people, tonight starts the tariffs with Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
The Ontario PM, I think it is. The Ontario.
Oh, okay. The
governor of Ontario. Like, can we?
Yeah, more or less.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm right. I'm an uneducated United States public school graduate. Anyway, he basically came out and was like, we have to make it hurt the Americans. So we are going to institute a tax on all energy shipped to America. And I am urging all of the other provinces of Canada to do the same. And he's like, we have to make it hurt. We have to. The stock market crashed today.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what Jamie and I were just talking about. Yeah.
People, like, these tariffs are going to hurt so many people. Like, I'm delighted that I got my car when I did because I can't imagine.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Like, I saw today that, or I read today that one of the car manufacturers is going to build one of the vehicles in Indiana starting this year versus in Mexico. They're raising the price of the vehicle by no less than $12,000 because they're moving manufacturing to Indiana out of Mexico.
$12,000. And I'll tell you,
while you're talking, I'm going to see if I can figure out, remember which one it was.
I just bought my Hyundai Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And I spent so much money on it. And it's a Hyundai. Like, it's a budget car. And I still spent, almost a third of what I spent on my first house.
Yeah, that it makes it's disgusting.
It's insanity. And now to think that it's going to go up another 50%.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
Honda will be manufacturing the next Civic in Indiana instead of Mexico, and they're going to raise no less than $12,000 the price of the Honda Civic.
And this is
which
a Civic.
Is, again, the budget car of Hondas.
The budget car. Yes. Yeah. But they can't afford to make it somewhere else and bring it in and get charged all the tariffs. Like, they just can't do it. So,
well, and clearly the American people are going to fucking pay for it regardless of whether it's made in Indiana or it's made in Mexico. The tariffs are hitting you regardless.
That's right. What kills me right now. So I watched a video from CNN that this woman went to the highest Republican voting county in a swing state. And it was some shit poor county in Georgia. Shocking. And literally she's like, so Trump said he was going to lower prices within the first 30 days. No, you have to give him time. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And even if it doesn't, it's worth it for the policies and I cannot, you and I were talking about this earlier, so people so we're going to talk about Social Security, but people who are going to lose their Social Security benefits because the whole fucking department has been gutted at this point, people who are not going to get those Social Security checks and are not going to get their Social Security payments, they won't care. It won't make a difference. They won't equate that, or they'll say it's worth it. You know what I'm saying?
It's insanity. Like,
yes,
I don't
it is
understand
insanity.
how
It really is. We talked about this weekend about continuously voting against your own
against your own,
interests.
your own self-interest. Yeah. But by
AOC,
God, thank God, transgender kids aren't playing on your daughter's sports team.
no fucking
Thank
shit.
fucking God.
You saved the kids. You saved the kids from the transgender competition. They're not going to eat because you can't afford like Medicaid and Social Security benefits and this and
but
that.
that's irrelevant. Yeah.
But that's irrelevant. And we're going to get rid of the Department of Education. And, you know, so they're not going to get educated. They're not going to eat. It's going to be fine. But
and
at
your local
least
food
they
banks
won't
aren't going to
have to compete against a transgender athlete.
Yes. And the local food banks that you're already using, they're not going to be around either because the federal funding for those is out the fucking door.
That's right.
So I hope you know how to grow potatoes. You can pretend to be Irish and that you're going through a fucking famine because I don't know how else you're going to survive.
Seriously. You know, we have made the correlation between, Nazi Germany and Trump very, very often. But it's getting to the point of, like, to your point, when communist Soviet Union was like taking all the stuff and not giving it to its people and people starving. And
that's what's happening in Russia.
That's right.
Like outside of the oligarchs in Russia, regular everyday Russians are fucking starving and they can't afford, you know, the gas for their homes and all the things.
Or even bread. Like I remember when, I remember like seeing those videos of people standing in line, 100 people deep, just waiting in line for some bread, a loaf of freaking bread, because it was so hard to come by. It was so expensive. Like,
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
So we had that very similar thing after the stock market crash in 29. And we had all those things happening. We had people waiting in food lines and people losing their jobs and all the things. Do you think we are removed enough now from that people not that they don't think it was real, but they feel like it was so long ago. It's just something that you read about and they don't have any way to conceptualize what that would have been like. It's just something they've seen in movies or that's just something that they've read about. And so they don't think it can happen here now, which is why they feel like this is all worth it no matter what.
I don't know. I'll tell you that everybody that they interviewed in this county was our age or older. So to your point, they all lived through it. It's not like they were 20, you know, they're 20 years old right now and they don't remember what it was like. So I don't know. I can't tell you because I believe that it's just people so far down the MAGA, not able.
Yeah.
And they all think that they're thinking for themselves. They all think that they are like, it's so we watched a show and I told you about this weekend called The Kings of Tupelo.
Oh yeah.
About these brothers that live in Tupelo, Mississippi, and they are Elvis impersonators. And there's just a whole shit show of crazy that goes on in their lives. And it was from the makers of Tiger King. So, you know, this is quality entertainment. I highly recommend you all go watch it. But these are the people that become just totally ingratiated MAGA voters. And you cannot, I mean, it's literally cult. It's literally, and I have never, because I am a woman, I'm a boring ass woman that sits at home and watches Netflix all the time. The number of specials I've watched on being in a cult are numerous.
Yeah,
and
I've read so many books on it.
I have never watched one that has done a great job of this is how you get people out of a cult.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to I don't know how to convince people. Like, I mean, what even are you doing? What are you thinking?
Yeah, like Leah Remini's show on Scientology and trying to get people to recognize what they're involved in and how deep it goes and all of that. Like, yes, it's very hard It's very hard to get people to detach themselves from that.
Yeah. And every one of their narratives is just so self-serving. And if somebody is saying something that is not confirmation bias, then it's scream and yell until they shut the fuck up. That literally is how we approach this. I saw this, so I won't say who, but somebody posted on Facebook a comment about, and I think I told you this a minute ago. Somebody posted on Facebook, let me look it up, because it was like, how does, okay. Take the jab or lose your job was totally fair, but do your job or get fired is tyranny. Make it make sense.
Okay.
And I mean, you and I have both said, number one, take the jab or lose your job is protecting others, dumbass.
And not everyone's job required that.
That's right. And second of all, nobody's saying it's tyrannical. Everyone is saying that it's not fair that you're firing everybody. If my boss wanted to have me sit, like I have one-on-ones every week and my boss says, what'd you get done last week? I am not calling them tyrannical. Now, if they want me to like write out a list, I'm going to call them micro fucking managers.
Right.
But nobody is saying that piece of it is tyranny.
Right.
People are just like, okay, but you're using this for mass fucking layoffs, like a crazy person.
Well, right. And like in the state of Missouri, you can be terminated with no notice, without cause.
Right.
The state of Missouri allows that. But it doesn't make it okay. And the issue with Musk, because I'm assuming that that's where that was going, was like,
I'm sure.
Musk is just asking for you to tell us what you're getting done. He doesn't have the authority to fucking do that.
Right.
He has no authority as Doge to do anything like that. That's why Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and all of them, rightfully so, acted like their dicks were getting stepped on when that initial email got sent out. Because he has no fucking authority over any of those employees to demand a goddamn thing over out of any of those employees.
That's right.
And then Trump had to come in and be like, no, we're going to send out another email and you will respond or you will be fired. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous. And
yes,
I also feel like for the majority of the MAGA diehards, they go to extremes. That is an extreme. Those two things are not even completely close to being related. They go to just like the lady who swears up and down that someone thinks they're a cat at her job and requires a litter box in the bathroom. You're full of fucking shit. You're full of shit and you're making up the most extreme thing you can think of to try to shut down the rational conversation that's trying to be done or trying to be had. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's exactly right.
And it's just fucking insanity.
It is. It's fucking insanity. And I don't know how to fix it. But speaking of transgenders.
Yes.
The transgender law to ban athletes has been blocked in the Senate.
I did not know this and I'm very excited. So what happens now? It's just DOA?
So I guess because what it said was that the legislation to prevent transgender athletes from participating in girls and women's sports failed to advance in Senate on Monday after all the Democrats voted against it. So you need a 60 vote to advance. And so you'd have to have at least 7 Democrats to vote with the Republicans. And
which was never going to happen.
Not do that.
Yeah, never going to happen. Go fuck yourself.
That's right. And so basically it's amending Title IX to define sex as based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth, not birthday. Also your birthday crazy to me about the transgender stuff is if an actual Republican ever met a transgender woman.
There's a transgender woman in Congress.
That's what I'm saying is they would.
They're refusing to let her use the bathroom.
Yes. And that's what is so absolutely fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
That is so crazy to me. Like if they ever met a transgender woman personally, and I'm not talking about just in politics, like a Republican person that I know.
Oh,
who probably is saying this whole cat litter box bullshit.
Right.
If they actually met a transgender woman and that person tried to go into a men's bathroom, she would lose her shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She'd be like, are you fucking, or vice versa. If a transgender man is like, okay, I'm going into the women's bathroom.
Yeah. And
they would lose their ever goddamn fucking mind.
Fully appearing like a man because they've gone through enough of a transition for their exterior appearance to be very much a man.
Yes.
Like I don't, again, you're not afraid of anything. You're just a fucking bigot.
Yes.
I don't like, I'm done with this equivalency of like, oh, but I'm afraid. You're not afraid. You're just a fucking bigot. It's not a goddamn spider. It's a fucking transgender person. It's not a fucking poisonous snake. You're not afraid. You're just a fucking bigot.
The one person that I met who I do believe is 100% afraid, she's afraid of cisgendered men. And she's taking it out because she was a Republican living in a Republican state in a Republican city. So she's decided that this is an avenue for cisgendered straight men to get access to women. And that is just fucking false.
Because let's be real clear.
Yeah.
Straight men don't need that avenue to attack women.
Exactly.
They don't need the avenue. They'll do it anywhere, at any time of the day or night, 7 days a week, 365. You gotta fucking be kidding me that you think they're gonna go through all this shit to put on a skirt and a shirt and do all these things to try to look like a woman to try to attack us? No, they don't need that. Because they also know that 8 out of 10 times they're gonna get away with attacking us looking like a man. They don't need to try to change the way their outward appearance is to try to gain access to us.
Right. Not to mention the fact that it's already fucking illegal. That is already illegal. So this one person, and again, I'm taking this issue to the absolute possible fucking extreme.
Yes.
And now that's what I'm focused on. And so I am going to deny transgender people their rights because of it. Yes. Are you kidding me? Yes. Oh my God. Anyway. Speaking of overtly racist bullshit, English is now the national language of the country.
Okay, so I have to admit that I deleted every news alert email I got Saturday and Sunday because I had to just disengage for 48 hours. Do you know what I mean? So I knew that this had happened. I never even looked it up. I'd never even looked it up because I was like, this is not it. This is not a problem. This is not an issue, but this is how we do this Christian nationalism bullshit is by now we're declaring that there's a language in this country. So when I'm standing at Walmart, some bigot can start screaming at which they already do, screaming at a mother who is speaking in her native tongue to her children about how this is America and you have to speak English here.
That's right. That's right. So I will tell you that. So it was an executive order. And it was signed, of course, with gleeful excitement.
Flourish. Yes.
And what they are the reality is that it's not going to affect most everyday Americans. Like most Americans,
it's just like the Gulf of America bullshit.
They only speak English. Only 8% of Americans don't speak English.
Right.
And then you have like a 20%ish that are bi or trilingual or multilingual, I should say.
Yeah.
So for most people, it's not going to be a huge issue. Where it does impact people is really not having a national language meant that there was a law that was put in place by Bill Clinton that required, I think it was Bill Clinton, that required all federal agencies and documents to come in multiple languages. So that if you are primarily a Spanish speaking person, but you can speak English, you could request an interpreter that would help you. So, and you could request forms that are written in Spanish because I don't know if you've tried learning a second language. I have, and it's a goddamn, I suck so bad.
I took Spanish in high school. To graduate high school, I took the 2 years that was required of me. I cheated my way through the entire fucking thing.
Right.
I could not wrap my brain around a second language. Now, my kid took 4 years of French and could speak it fluently, and she did it so that she didn't have to take it at the college level because she had her college credit by the time she graduated high school with it.
Yep.
She can't I don't know. And she could read it and write it and like all the things. I don't know that she could do that today, 4 years later, now that she's a senior in college and hasn't used it. I don't know that she could. And I've always heard that it's better when you start it when they're children because their brains are like sponges. So if we would start that as kids, it would just be second nature to them to, you know, to be multilingual.
So where I was going with that though is you're learning, that's okay. When you're learning a second language, you got really passionate about it.
I did. I'm very sorry. Yes, I'm very sorry.
Start them young. That's right. Indoctrinate these fuckers. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, where I was going with this is like, I can learn, like I've learned Duolingo conversational Spanish and I can hear it and I can say it, but a lot of times like writing it down is so much more difficult. So like not having forms available in Malta means that people are going to make more errors, have more issues. And these are the people that need these services more than anyone. These are real Americans. You know, they talked like this was, you know, indigenous children, especially who grew up on, you know, the reservations and they spoke certain languages and they were still learning English, but it was taking them time. Like they would like now they won't be able to get a lot of the services and help and things that they need. And like, to your point, the only reason to do it is so that the Karens of the world can start fucking yelling at people. Hey, you're in America, speak English. Like literally. Yeah.
And it just, again, the cruelty seems to be the point.
I agree. Okay. Speaking of indoctrinating our children at a very young age.
Oh God.
The Department of Education.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Linda McMahon was confirmed. Well, you told me that was today?
I got the news alert about it tonight.
Okay, I think you're right. I think that was correct, that it was tonight.
I was going to look up what the numbers were for her confirmation.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go look, but
51 to 45.
Okay. I will say that with the confirmation of Linda McMahon, do we think, because I also read that the Department of Education has created a like DEI reporting portal where people can now go in and report where you need to end DEI in the Department of Education, which I think is, you know, great. I love this journey for us. Do we think Trump is actually going to move forward with dismantling the Department of Education?
I think he's going to try for sure.
So I do too.
I mean,
and
I don't think I
asked on Facebook because I know I have strong feelings about dismantling the Board of Education, but I was like, maybe I'm misinformed because I'm not real close to it. And I have a ton of friends that are teachers. So I'm like, what the hell does this mean? What does this really mean? And overwhelmingly what this really and truly means is no more funding for special programs. If you have a special needs child in any way, shape, or form, those are all going away. 504s could go away. Anything that helps your child with being able to go through the education system better, that is all funded and provided for the most part by. So Mark has a real good friend. Well, he used to have a real good friend. Not so much anymore. She has exactly this, a special needs child. And years ago, the state of Missouri took away all of the programs that they have, and she threw a fit. She's a MAGA. She's a Trumper. She lives in central Missouri. I am dying for this to go away and to see what her response is. Now, I'll tell you, like, it would impact me as well. My child is dyslexic. He has a 504 in place. Like, we are very appreciative of the fact that, like, he can use speech to text in a lot of the things that he's doing. And he's getting straight A's because of some of the concessions that they've been able to give him and the bajillion dollars that I spend on tutoring and therapy. But regardless, like, I'm lucky enough that I can spend the money on those things for him. For people that can't, they are totally
they will be
screwed.
left behind.
Yeah, those kids will 100% be left behind.
They will not be functioning parts of our society, a functioning part of our society, because we're going to fail them in their education.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I'm very anxious to see what's coming in the next few months with the Department of Education. Trump's said it. He said it over the weekend. He wants to get rid of it, send everything back to the states, which is where it belongs. The states have overwhelmingly said, we don't have the staff. We don't have the capabilities.
They don't have the resources. They don't have the money.
Manage all of this, and you
No.
can't take away our federal funding. So by far, it's going to impact everybody's school. Luckily, my child is going to be out in a couple of years.
But great news. We're still trying to pass that voucher program so that we can give discounts to wealthy parents that are choosing to send their children to private schools.
Right. Exactly right. So I love this journey for us.
Yeah.
Okay. I was saving something for you.
Oh God. Oh God. Okay. Now I'm scared.
Do you remember? No. This makes me a little gleeful.
Oh.
Do you remember our BFF Big Balls?
Oh God, yes. How could I forget dear old Big Balls?
Do you know that Big Ball's grandfather worked for the KGB? And he was a huge Trump supporter. He was executed, by Russia, by Mother Russia.
When?
In the 70s. And he was he worked for the KGB. And now his grandchild.
Was he terminated because he sold out secrets of Mother Russia's?
Indeed.
Oh, well, just like his grandson.
Indeed. And this is Big Ball's grandpa. So I really enjoyed that story.
Wow.
I know.
We're clearly doing zero fucking vetting over there at the Doge.
Well,
zero vetting.
In all fairness, Nicole,
or maybe they are, and that's exactly what they
wanted.
Yeah.
I wonder
you're right.
if they sought this kid out.
That's entirely
for
true.
Exactly this.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, right, if all of a sudden Putin gets a bunch of intel on America, they can just blame it on this kid.
Yeah.
Big Balls did it. Right? Super simple.
Yeah.
This could be the Lee Harvey Oswald of our generation.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You never know. You never know. And right, all we want to be able to do is sell all our secrets to Putin at this point. So,
well, yeah.
Who knows? I just thought I loved that little story, so I had to tell you that.
Wow.
Okay, can we talk just a minute about Social Security?
Yeah.
So Elon over the weekend called it a Ponzi scheme. Is there anyone? I'm curious.
The definition is of a Ponzi scheme? Do you think he knows?
I assume. Well, I assume so. He's familiar with Trump, for crying out loud, so he should know what.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that Trump University was a Ponzi scheme?
I'm just saying that. He should be familiar. But let me just say this. Are there any MAGA out there? And don't get me wrong, I'm assuming no MAGA are watching. But if you are a MAGA and you're watching, I am so curious do you believe this? Do you believe Medicare that you've paid or Social Security that you've paid into your whole life is a entitlement? Do you believe? Because one of the other things that I have on my list is this government budget.
Yes.
The most recent government budget called for $880 billion to be reduced from basically the group that runs Social Security, right?
Yeah.
No, it's Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah.
I'm getting the two mixed up.
What I have written down.
But it includes a reduction of taxes on Social Security, right?
Well, okay. So what I have is the top priority is obviously extending the 2017 tax cuts for the next 10 years, which the Congressional Budget Office estimates would add $4.6 trillion to the deficit.
Yep.
If he enacts the other tax cuts he promised on the campaign trail, including tips, overtime, and SSA payments, the deficit would jump closer to $11 trillion. The debt ceiling will have to be raised for these tax cuts to be approved. MAGA Republicans are saying they will not raise the debt ceiling unless there are extreme cuts to the federal budget. On 2/21, the Senate voted to advance a budget resolution that called for $175 billion in new funding for border security and immigration enforcement, and told committees, to expect $4 billion in spending cuts, including Medicaid.
So to your point, the what I was thinking was this House of Energy, whatever, that are responsible for Medicare and Medicaid, that they've been asked to cut $880 billion.
Yeah.
And to your point, like there's no way that it would supposedly it would address the inefficiencies of Medicare and Medicaid, but AOC went on NPR the other day and said there are not enough inefficiencies. Your benefits will be cut. Your benefits will absolutely be cut.
Of that $800 billion, $230 billion of it is in cuts directly to SNAP benefits.
Well, and let's be honest, like you and I both know that at the end of the day, we're doing these tax cuts that have, and AOC mentioned this in that interview with NPR, that we're giving you breadcrumbs so that we can give the entire farm to the 1%.
That's right.
This is what's happening. And so you're going to have these tariffs, or you're going to have implications, which means you're going to pay $12,000 more for a new car. But don't worry, your tips, which are, being taxed at whatever, you're not going to have to pay those tips. And
that's if they actually do that, because I don't think they're actually going to do that.
I mean, shocked.
And 24% of Americans get their health care from Medicaid, and 2/3 of all patients in nursing homes receive Medicaid.
Yep. So I'm really looking forward to all of these great budget and cost reductions. I had Mark posted something about Doge and Elon Musk over the weekend, and we had one of our family members that chimed in and was like, hey, if you don't want to know where your federal taxes are going, then that's up to you. And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Yeah. So I don't know how we can break the cult. He has a daughter that's a teacher. She's a principal. I'm curious what these changes to the Department of Education are going to cause for him. And I'm fairly certain that he is probably on Medicare, being the age that he is, as is his wife. And I'm guessing that they probably get Social Security. So we'll see what happens.
But I mean, good news. $5.4 trillion in taxes, primarily for the wealthy and corporations, are what's being cut. And we're going to give $90 billion for Homeland Security and $100 billion in military spending. That's where your federal tax dollars are going.
Yep. I love that. And this is what I think people have said all along, is that cutting the federal workforce. I was reading an article today about how one of the U.S. government cybersecurity agencies, they had 100 people cut over this last week. And they were saying that people who were critical to ensuring that we were monitoring for things like tampering in elections and and external countries accessing our systems, those employees are the ones that have been let go. And so we are ripe. We are 100% ripe now to fix every election, to
which is the
access
goal.
all of our information.
I mean, I think that's the thing for me too, that is hard for me to understand, how they're not following the dotted lines. This has been the goal all along, is how do we keep him in the White House forever till he keels over and dies. And I don't know how you're not following everything. I mean, they said all along in the campaign what they were going to do. Now they're fucking doing it. And everybody, they just want to act like, oh, well, this is going to be a little bit of pain, but it's going to be fine in the end. It's going to be worth it in the end to get to the,
what
I don't think you understand what that means.
I'm not understanding. I guess, watching Democrats, watching people just let this happen is how this has felt. I've heard a lot of comments from, I watched the AOC interview, which was great. Cory Booker is still talking. People are still making comments of course, really high up Democrats, the Chuck Schumers, it feels like
Yeah.
have kind of gone back to
Fucking quiet
lick
as
their
hell.
wounds and
Yeah.
be chastised. And I appreciate the fact that we are fighting as much as we can on the legislation that we can. But the fact is that I just don't feel like we've learned our lesson yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Democrats still have not learned how to really fight back against this. I remember when, the Supreme Court was overruled and AOC was like, I'm going to introduce legislation. I'm going to get people, impeached, or I'm going to, introduce legislation to expand the Supreme Court, blah, 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 blah. Now's that time that we could be turning some of this stuff around that would help us impose time limits on people and write laws that say congressional orders can't be overturned by executive orders. And okay, if we need to strengthen our government, now's the time to do that, because, you're getting told by the Republicans things like, oh, back when the Supreme Court was very left leaning, we need term limits for the Supreme Court. Okay, fine. Now's the time to start introducing some of those, even if you're expected to get shut down, because at least you can run on it in 2 years. As of right now, I am not seeing anything gravely compelling me to want to get out in 2 years. I know we're counting down under 600 days, but I still don't see anything that's oh, you should make a difference because at least this person, even though because it's almost like everyone's so afraid of either making an enemy or getting shot down and looking weak that they're not willing to introduce anything. And it's just, yes, I feel like we haven't learned a goddamn fucking lesson yet, right?
And
nobody's doing anything.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you've got these GOP people showing up at town halls and getting their ass handed to them by their constituents. We've got people that are protesting in the fucking streets in major city, in, all kinds of places. And yet the Democrats are doing nothing. You can't, the judges are not going to save us. There's only so much that the judicial branch can do. And so to your point, fucking do something so you can campaign on it. Quit being a feckless fucking moron and just going on the pundit shows and talking a good game about, what should be happening or how wrong all of this is, and how, because I'm so fucking sick of hearing the word unprecedented. I swear to God, if I hear the word unprecedented one more time, I'll fucking choke somebody. Quit fucking saying that and do something about it. I mean, tonight, the big conversation was, with tomorrow's address to Congress, are the Democrats going to show up or not? Because there are some that are saying, I'm not coming. Fuck this guy. I'm not coming. There's other Democrats that are saying, no, this is what we do. We have to show up and we have to stay seated and not clap and not, do all these things. And one of the Democratic Congress people that was being interviewed said that they don't know whether they're going, or they haven't made a decision about whether they're going to go tomorrow night or not. But their thought on it is, if enough of us don't go and they know it ahead of time, they can stack those seats with their supporters. That makes it look like the Democrats are not involved. And so when Jamie and I were talking about it tonight at dinner, his comment was, so you stay seated till he gets behind the podium, and then you all in mass
get up and walk out
and walk the fuck out, because then they don't have time. Then it's over. They can't stack your seats. You've all in one giant group in unison have said, fuck you, just like Nancy Pelosi did the day she ripped his fucking speech up in front of his goddamn face, and you walk the fuck out.
Yep. Yes. I love that.
But I don't think they've got the tits to do it.
I don't think so either. And to your point, I don't know that they will actually, I don't know that makes or sends as big a message as you think it does.
Well, yeah, because I'm not watching tomorrow night. I refuse.
Fuck no, I'm not either.
Just like with his inauguration, I will make sure my TV is on something else entirely so that he doesn't get the ratings that he wants.
Yes, I 1000% agree. But I'm at that point where it's okay, that's great. I love the idea of walking out just because Trump has such a fucking ego.
The symbolism of it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. With that said, I want to see actual legislation. We aren't writing a story or giving a narrative that's like, hey, this is the problem with what they're doing, and this is what we're doing to counteract that. Like, if Americans think that it's either what's going on now or going back to where we were, that's not helpful in any way, shape, or form. No one wants to vote for that.
Right. And we've talked repeatedly about how the Democrats have lost the fucking narrative of the party. Everybody thinks that the Democrats are the elites now. And somehow it's gotten twisted that the Republicans are the party of the working class. We all know that that's a fucking farce, that is not true. But the Democrats have lost the fucking narrative.
I know, but they're doing just enough to make it look like they are, like removing taxes on tips and removing taxes on, so that's just enough to be like, see, we care about you.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, the Democrats have lost that fucking narrative, and they need to figure out, they need to go back to their blue collar roots, and they need to fucking figure out how to get this shit back into their, you know, I don't even know what I'm going to say.
They need to control their own narrative again.
Yes.
And I don't know, where is the DNC? Where are they at like deciding, okay, this is what our narrative is going to be. We all need to get together. AOC said on NPR that, the word to describe the Democratic Party is resolved. And I'm like, I do not see that at all. I've heard and it is not like I am not consuming fucking political information.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right.
Multiple
than ever
times a day.
For this podcast specifically, I am on news sites constantly. I watch Sunday morning shows. I watch news constantly. So it's not like I'm just missing it.
Right. No, it's not there.
Jack all from the fucking Democrats. And that is why I don't know in 2 years if we're going to be able to make any difference whatsoever, because we still have not fucking gotten it. We still haven't gotten it. How stupid do we have to be?
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, tell us something good.
Okay. You want your happy ending?
I want my happy ending.
Okay. I'm going to give you your happy ending.
I worked myself up in a hot,
You're in a lather.
So I need my happy ending.
Okay. I'm going to give you a happy ending. And this happy ending goes along with a text that I sent you like 2 weeks ago about Mark Cuban. Okay. And, cost plus drugs, and how I'm loving Mark Cuban because those are you and I've had this conversation before about there are millionaires and billionaires like Mark Cuban, like, the Microsoft guy. I just forgot his name.
Bill Gates and his wife, Melania Gates.
The things that the good things they have done with their money to counteract the shit that our government won't do for American people. So, Michael Jordan. Basketball hero Michael Jordan has opened another, which I didn't know this, health clinic in his home state of North Carolina, which he's now up to 4 clinics that serve the uninsured. So he donated tens of millions of dollars and opened another vital community health hub, the 4th Michael Jordan Family Medical Clinic in North Carolina. The latest is the 2nd clinic opening in his hometown of Wilmington, and all are founded in collaboration with Novant Health. It's a 7,300 square foot facility, blah, blah, blah. It has 12 patient rooms, open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Then I was reading on that the Greenfield Street Clinic that opened last year in Wilmington served 1,800 patients in its first 9 months that are all uninsured. So Novant Health and Jordan first launched this clinic concept in Charlotte in 2019 with a pair of clinics that were strategically placed to address barriers to care, including transportation. Many of the Charlotte patients never had a primary care visit before they were welcomed into one of the Michael Jordan clinics, where patients found a sense of hope.
Holy shitballs. That's insanity.
Building on the success of that model, a $10 million gift from Jordan to Novant Health Foundations made it possible to add 2 more clinics in Wilmington.
Okay. Well, you're right. That does make me feel better. I appreciate the happy ending.
Yes.
I also want to give a shout out. We did get a comment last week that was, I didn't see any thumbs down. I don't know if you saw any thumbs down or not, but I did not see any new thumbs down.
Yeah, no.
I will say that our last video it hit 163 views. So that was very exciting that
That's
we hit.
exciting.
Yeah, I know. Oh, no. We got 3 thumbs down, but we got 10 thumbs up on that episode 15. So that's very exciting. We had one federal employee that thanked us for talking about how the layoffs have impacted people. I will say the latest count that I have heard on federal layoffs is 30,000 people. I think both you and I have read multiple stories from multiple agencies about how hard it is going to hit the American public to not have people at things like the VA, national parks, Social Security Administration,
the CFPB, which costs American taxpayers $0. $0.
All of that, like for that many federal workers to be laid off is just going to cause mass chaos. We got a lot of people who we did get some comments about how much we need to stand up against people, that we really cannot, let give in. We can't let our institutions like the AP give in, which I love. Yeah. And we had one person that said she really loves the happy ending segment. So I love that as well. Also, somebody comment on your registered voter poster. So I don't know if you wanted to let people know where you got your.
I haven't seen all these comments. Like, these are comments on. I've only seen the one from our federal worker. I haven't gone back out there and looked. Okay, so my poster came from the World War I Museum here in Kansas City, from Liberty Memorial. You can order it online. If you're in the Kansas City area, I would highly suggest you go through the museum. It is amazing. It came from the only
national World War I museum in the entire country.
Yes.
So
and
if you get a chance, I'm with you. Highly recommend it.
Yes, it is amazing. But that's where that came from, was their gift shop. Cause I'm a sucker for a good ass gift shop in a museum.
Girl, me too. Me too. All right. Well, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I also hope that you guys are keeping your chin up, because we can't back down. We can't give in. We have to continue on. But I also feel like we're going to have to message our Democratic brothers and sisters.
Yes, we have to.
Yes, we've got to start letting them know that they have to get out a message that's better than just, oh, I don't like this.
Yes.
Like we have to start controlling a narrative. So
yes. And for those of us here in Missouri, or anybody that's in a red leaning state, you should still email and call your representatives and tell them that this is not, it doesn't matter if you're a registered Democrat and you didn't vote for them. They're still representing you because they won the fucking election. And so by God, they still need to hear from you too. And you need to call them and tell them that this shit's not okay. That's what's happening at these town halls across this country. And we saw last weekend, one of Kansas's congressionally appointed person run out of his town hall an hour before it was scheduled to end because he couldn't take the fucking heat. Keep that shit up. That's what you have to do. It is what you have to do.
Totally 100% agree. Love it. Okay. Well, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, again, feel free to
let us know.
Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down.
Tell us what you don't like. Yeah.
That's right. We love it. With that said, please like and subscribe so that you get notified of all new episodes, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.